Did you realize Bandit and Chilli were divorced for a few years? Why were there only families of the same breed in the first seasons? Why are there no Pitbulls in Bluey? Well friends, I was browsing the internet for some new Bluey content ideas for you, and I found the darkest theories that you can ever imagine. So today we'll review, compliment, and explain some of the darkest theories of Bluey I found on the internet. These are not real or confirmed, they're just simple theories. There's a very curious point when we start watching the Bluey series for the first time. If we look closely at the kids and their families, we'll see that almost all, if not everyone, belong to the same breed. There's no diversity in the families at all. Mackenzie's family are all border collies. The terriers are all terriers. And for God's sake, Coco's whole family are poodles. But how was this possible? Well friends, this is where the theory starts to get very dark. Ludo Studios have not explained how was this possible, so a Reddit user gave a theory. For this to be possible, there must have been at least one century where someone forced all the inhabitants to only have families within the same breed. Possibly a crazy dictator who wanted the country to be pure, and throughout this century he might have imposed laws so they couldn't have relationship with different breeds. And this, friends, starts to make a lot of sense with the next point I noticed. Because if you remember in the circus episode, we saw it was election day to choose a new president. And it was right after this episode that we started to see more diversity in the Bluey series. First, we saw it in Pass the Parcel with Missy, a girl who seemed like she was adopted. But after thinking about this theory, maybe her dad is a different breed. Then we saw it with Winton's dad, who was the one most often seen with ladies of different breeds. And the definitive proof was in the surprise episode, with the son we saw Bluey has. This kid here breaks all the patterns that existed before. He's no longer a purebred healer, he's a mix. Personally, I don't think the series will show us the past or why there were only families with the same breed. Who knows what kind of things or ideologies were happening back then? In my opinion, maybe the series back then were just created to see if people would like it. And they didn't thought about a lot of complicated stuff, like diversity. Anyway, what do you think? We think Bluey is a very diverse series. We practically see the most common dog breeds in the world. Though, we still need to see breeds like Chihuahuas, Dobermans, among others. But there's a very curious breed we've never seen in Bluey, and that's the Pitbull. But what's so special about this breed? Why we haven't seen it in Bluey? A Reddit user says the following. The thing is, friends, in Bluey's world, we've seen things happen that also happened in real life, like dinosaurs, wars, or even elections with candidates that exist in real life. And there was an event that only a few people know happened in Australia. Pitbulls were banned from that country. Well, not exactly 100% banned, but they are a very regulated breed in that country. Therefore, it's most likely that in Bluey's Australia, Pitbulls are not allowed either. Because we've seen throughout the series that Bluey's Australia seems very safe, with no crimes or bad people. So tell me, why is there security at the airport? We don't see bad people or criminals. Well, maybe in Bluey's world there are mafias or delinquent groups that they obviously wouldn't show us. But one of the most obvious reasons there's a security filter at the airport is because of the dog breeds that are banned in that country. Maybe some try to sneak in, and of course, they won't let them pass. And that's Chilli's job. But if you'd like to see a more in-depth video on why there are no Pitbulls in Bluey's world, let us know in the comments, because there are many more important dark things we can't say in this video. But well, what do you think? Coincidence or reality? In the dance mode episode, for some reason, Bandit wants to change his driver's license. It seems insignificant at first, but the real reason Bandit wanted to change it will completely surprise you. This next theory is probably one of the most mind-blowing in this video. And that's because it's about the supposed divorce between Bandit and Chilli. Let me explain. Based on user Tales, this theory tells us that the first season takes place after Bandit tried to reconcile with Chilli because he decided to separate earlier, since he didn't want more kids besides Bluey. And before you say this is complete madness, let's first look at the reasons that make us think this. First, in the dance mode episode, we see that Bandit wants to change the address of his driver's license. But this might seem illogical, right? They've practically always lived in the same house, at least since Bluey was born, and this can be easily proven with the baby race episode. We can see the play area and various parts of the house. So, what address did Bandit have on his driver's license? Did he live somewhere else for a while? The next thing I'm sure many noticed, and let me tell you, it couldn't be a simple coincidence. As the episodes progress, we see Bandit showing more and more affection towards Chilli. Add to that, Bandit always trying to help her, nothing like Stripe and Trixie. And this could be because of the guilt Bandit feels for leaving Chilli alone when she needed him the most. Another reason that left me thinking a lot, we find in the Baby Dad episode. Here Chilli says, "You have no idea what I went through," just when Bandit pretends to be pregnant with Bingo. Many of us think it doesn't have such an important meaning, but if you think about it, why would Chilli say that? Weren't they supposed to be together while Chilli was pregnant? Maybe we think it's because Bandit will never know what it's like to carry a baby. But if we consider that Bandit was always present during Bluey's childhood, she should have felt supported. And this is what led me to think that this possible separation might have happened a bit after Bingo's birth. And actually, that would explain many more things. For example, we almost don't have flashbacks or memories of Bingo's childhood. And we also know that Bandit knows perfectly how to play with Bluey. But when he plays with Bingo, it almost seems like he's bullying her. All this is very clear and shown in the Yoga Ball episode. And honestly, it's a big difference and quite suspicious, since they're both his daughters, and it's not like Bingo is just a year old. Did Bandit not learn how to play with her during all this time? And I also think that because of that lost time, Bandit tries harder to play with the kids and spend more time with his family to show Chilli he's changed. Again, nothing like Stripe and Trixie, who only buy toys for Muffin and Socks and leave them to their own devices. Also, the show episode showed us a more mature side of Chilli, with the motivational phrase she gave Bingo to keep going. I'm convinced Chilli learned this sometime after Bluey's childhood, because she didn't have this mindset in the Baby Race episode. There, Chilli gave up very easily, and her only support to keep going was Bandit. The next thing that's a bit questionable is that Bluey and Bingo get very excited when their parents kiss lovingly. If you ask me, this is quite strange for girls their age. They'd normally feel uncomfortable and grossed out. But it all makes sense if their parents are just trying to reconcile. And this makes even more sense in Season 3, in the Smoochy Kiss episode, where this action does gross out Bluey and Bingo. And do you remember Bandit's friend Rocco? Well, this character also has a lot to do with this theory. He's a friend of Bandit, who is single. But could it be that Rocco became friends with Bandit when he separated from Chilli? And that's why Chilli doesn't like him, because he's a bad influence. We only see him with Bandit when he's out of the house, and of course, without Chilli. And something quite curious is that in Wagon Ride and Kids, Bluey seems annoyed when Bandit talks to Rocco, probably a behavior learned from Chilli. Also, in Born Yesterday, Bandit tells Rocco, "I have nothing to say about the sun to you." And we also know from Bedtime that Chilli is represented by the sun. Quite a few coincidences, don't you think? And lastly, we have Bandit's very direct comment in the Perfect episode. Do we really want more of these things running around? What did he mean by this? He probably didn't want more kids, and this was the reason for his fight and separation with Chilli. But tell me, what do you think about this theory? I think it's a lot of coincidences, but honestly, I don't think that Bandit and Chilli actually got separated. They seem to connect very well and solve every problematic situation they have. Also, what was Bandit gonna do when Chilli made her iconic angry face? God, what do you do to fight that? It may have seemed strange to you to only see purebred dogs in Bluey's world, and this has led us to wonder what happened to the mixed breed dogs. And to answer this question, a rather unsettling theory emerged. A Reddit user said, "It's said that the place where Bluey is located is a place for the privileged, who of course are the purebreds." We've never seen a mixed breed dog walking around, but this doesn't mean they don't exist. They probably live apart from the purebred society. In Bluey's world, only those with their certificate can live there, and the others are treated as inferiors for not having papers. Well, that's a very dark answer, but as I said before, maybe at the beginning they didn't thought about this. But probably in Season 4 we'll get to see more diversity in the show. Also, we have the new addition of Bluey's son. So, well, what other dark theories about Bluey do you know? We'll read you in the comments.